I come from an addictive family. My father was an alcoholic, and I have 8 brothers and sisters, so I ended up growing up very fast for a lot of reasons. I went to work full-time when I was 11 years old because we were on welfare and food stamps and my dad was sick. When I look back at all of the tragedies that happened in my childhood, they all revolved around alcohol and addiction. What started my problems is I was diagnosed with MS about 31 years ago. The doctors prescribed me a dopamine enhancer and truly got me addicted to the dopamine enhancer, which causes compulsive behavior. It causes alcoholism, gambling. I was so addicted to this by the doctors that they weren't even seeing me, they were just rewriting the prescriptions. Until I went to a specialist in Maryland at Johns Hopkins, and he said, "You're on a really bad substance, that's gonna cause you problems, and you need to get off it." It took them almost 2 months to wean me off of it. But that's what caused my problems. When COVID hit, I was quarantined at home and went from drinking, just at night and on the weekends to every night. I was drinking so heavily, I was drinking, a big bottle of vodka a day. And it just got to the point where my life was out of control. Several people in my family approached me and, talked to me about the problem. My wife, of course, was constantly talking to me about drinking, but I didn't want to admit that I was a problem because I can handle it. And I was handling it, according to me at the time. Back in the summertime, my son was up from Florida. There was a knock at the door and him and my daughter were there. And they said, "We want to talk to you." And I thought they were going to tell me that one of them was pregnant, that my daughter was going to have another baby or my daughter-in-law. And they said, "No, we're here about your drinking problem." My daughter looked at me and she said, "Dad, do you remember when you sang to me at my wedding?" I learned to play the piano to play one song for my daughter for her wedding. That was my present to her. It took me 9 months to learn it. She said, "Do you remember that?" And I said, "Of course I do." And she said, "You're never going to be alive to sing to my daughters at their weddings." And I said, "Okay, I'll go." First time that I ever was exposed to any kind of an addiction meeting was my first night at RCA. Everybody was non-judgmental. Everybody here, whether they were a patient here or they worked here, know where we all are coming from. They're all coming from the same place in just, different circumstances. The Inspire group that met on a regular basis when I was here was inspiring. I had the ability or the opportunity to listen to a lot of people's stories and a lot of different types of backgrounds and a lot of different ways that they got to where I am, and it inspired me enough to tell my story. I'm telling my story without any editing to a group of 50 people that I've never met before. And I felt like, honestly, by the time I was here for 30 days that I helped a lot of people besides being helped myself. And I think that's the beauty of the RCA experience. After I was discharged from RCA, I decided to continue with outpatient treatment. And living 2 hours away, it would be a problem for me to come in to do the outpatient treatment. So they offered the IOP on Zoom. And I love that because we have a group of 10 or 12 patients that get together 3 days a week, and I can do it from my living room. With the IOP, they offered several different schedules, and that helped me a lot. I have my own business and I can rearrange my schedule a little bit, but for me to have a set schedule that I can plan around was a big advantage. I don't have to worry about scheduling and things like that as far as driving and whatnot. So I dove right into IOP, and I've been doing that now since I left RCA inpatient. I guess it's about 6 months now. The IOP group that we have kind of replaced the support group that I had here. Everybody goes around and tells how they're doing for let's say tonight will be a weekend recap, and there invariably will be issues that people had with either drinking or family situations where they were exposed to triggers and things like that. And we all kind of chip in and help each other out and maybe relate to a story that I went through or they went through that will help get them through that tough time. And it's nice to have that support group. I call them the lifelines. And that's what it really has become. It's become a lifeline for a lot of people, that if they have a crisis and they can reach out to 9 or 10 different people that they can relate to, that's a tremendous lifeline to have. I wish we had that, for everything. Pick up the phone. You need to talk to people. You need to talk, if you don't feel comfortable calling RCA and talking to somebody there, get somebody, go to a meeting, talk to somebody that's been through what we've all been through. Somebody that you can relate to, that can tell you the difference before and after. I used to live to drink. I got to the point where I really was just waking up in the morning and getting any excuse that I could think of to drink. And now I'm not living to drink, I'm living. Coming to grips with my addiction and checking myself in the RCA and continuing to work on my recovery has added at least a decade to my life. There's no question about it. It's 10 more years that I'll be able to live and enjoy my family.